I definitely spend more time with your wife than you, so I can see
Yeah.
why you have an issue. All these dudes around your wife, but
Welcome to
We Grwn.
Question mark?
I'm Shaun.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Moyo. And today we have our final guest husband, Jess's husband, Ronald. All right.
Fanfare.
You know,
Yes.
Yeah, had to do a little something. All right, so first things first. What had you feeling grown?
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of early. Let's see. That's a very good question.
It is a good question.
One would think I wasn't prepped for this.
Literally.
On a serious note, though, I don't know. I really felt quite a burden of responsibility those few years ago when I was confronted with the evils of interest in student loans. When I realized that my $500 a month was getting me nowhere, so I
Jesus.
worked hard, did overtime, spent all my bonuses, and it's paid off $20,000 in 6 months. So I was
Ooh,
broke, but did the trick.
he got money.
Right.
Money.
Paying off
Married a
loans.
baller.
I know. I might have to add some sad music to that. That
Go
hurt
for
me.
Tears. We want tears.
All the tears.
It's a podcast, it's a video, and more.
Okay.
In continuation of our husband series, we want to know how you guys met.
I don't know how I met this woman. Your turn.
Okay, let's rephrase. We would like to know how you guys got together and became a couple.
That's a
And
good question.
from there to here.
Ladies first.
No, you the husband. You the guest star.
Oh,
You start.
I defer
Guest
to the matchmaker.
star.
Y'all are killing us. Are we gonna have to
No, this
You
is
gonna
gonna be
keep
in
y'all
it.
in?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
So guest star, would you like to start?
Please tell us from your perspective.
Yeah. Because you know I could tell it a different way.
I can tell it a different way too.
I
But it ain't
can't.
my story.
I don't know. Things happened. Proposals were made. Then there was a wedding. Where y'all want me to go?
So maybe I'll ask some more questions. We met a long time ago, sometime around I feel like it was like a Thanksgiving at your house where Jess was eating food as a vegetarian. That was like my first interaction of you, a vegetarian. I feel like that was really the first time I started to know you.
That had to be 2017 then.
Yes, I think so. Is that the first time you met or interacted with Jess?
I remember meeting.
I don't know. Could have been.
All right, he ain't giving us nothing.
Okay, so Jess, I remember sometime when I was overseas, we were having a conversation, and much like it was kind of a conversation like as if I was having it with you. We were talking, yada yada yada, and then you just kind of slid in there that you and Ronald were dating.
Yeah, kind of similar how you
So
did
can
me. But yeah.
Payback.
Mm-hmm. I start from the beginning, or at
Start
least
from the beginning.
Start from the
since
beginning.
He hasn't given us
anything.
anything.
From the beginning.
I don't remember meeting him at your engagement, even though he was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think the first time I got to know him was when we all went to Massanutten, and you were pregnant with Joyous.
I was like, oh, I was not part of that.
Yeah, you were gone. You were gone by then. I didn't ride with you up there, but I did ride with you back.
It's factual.
Yeah. I remember we all were meeting up at y'all apartment, and he was getting off of work, and you had the 2-bedroom apartment, you had one bed, and so His brothers were there. Pretty much everybody that was going to be on the trip was there. He was the last person to get there. And so you were like, well, one person can sleep in the bed. Who's it going to be? And he was like, I'm taking it. And I was like, oh, how ungentlemanlike of this man. And I was just like, dang, not even going to give it to the woman, but fine. Granted, now later on, I'm like, I understand. Like, this man works very long hours. So I was like, I definitely understand. Like, and it was late. It was like maybe 11 o'clock or so. So it makes sense now. But at the time, I was just like, okay. So yeah, once we got there, I think us all like hanging out, and like one night, I think we all were kind of like sitting around and talking, and like this man pretty much was like on his stance of like, I never plan to get married or ever have children. And I was like, well, if I was ever considering this man, I guess he off the list. And then, I mean, he was cool though. Like, I feel like we had decent conversation. He was a great like sport at getting to learn by trial and error snowboarding, because pretty much everybody tried it except for Moyo. I think Ramarcus didn't do it either, because I don't think you let him, because you were like, I got a baby.
Yeah. And he had, I think by then he had already hurt his knee.
Yeah. That was before the surgery. Yeah. So the ride back, I think, was probably the most memorable for me. Because it's like a 3-hour drive from us. And so, you know, we're all in the car, more so listening to music. And I think we bonded over Lupe Fiasco, like, because I really love the Cool album and like probably know almost all the words. And so he's like, oh, you like Lupe? Puts more music on.
More Lupe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, more Lupe. So I think that was kind of like a connection point for us. But in my head, I'm still like, this man don't want no kids and he never want to get married. So, I mean, and he just wasn't my typical type of guy to date either. So it's just, the odds were a little stacked. How about you?
Well, like I said, I don't remember how we met, but I guess there were definitely some memorable moments along the way, because I don't know, you were definitely a presence. For some reason, I was invisible to you. You act like I wasn't at your friend's engagement party when I was there before you, but that's neither here nor there.
On this, me being late. I mean, hey, I got ADHD.
Well,
I'd be late.
yeah, but there were definitely different moments. I don't know. I didn't have any negative opinion of you per se. Just little snippets of things I saw. Because as Moyo likes to call me, I'm a lurker. And I just watch people.
He really do. He's
So,
great observer.
I took notes of some things, how you interact with people, different views you take, your actions. You interact with my mother at something. I guess the Thanksgiving thing he was talking about. And that was interesting. 'Cause I was like, you get along with my mother, so
No shade, Mama Comey.
that's not necessarily a plus. So move on. But I don't know. I didn't have any outlandish or, I guess, super significant interactions for a while. I guess that's probably why neither of us really remembers how we met.
Yeah.
It wasn't terribly eventful for either of us, which is fine. I don't believe in love at first sight or none of that nonsense, no way. So things worked out.
Fair enough.
So I'm curious, because I was not here
Yeah.
when you guys got together. Like, how did that start? I mean, how did that start? What was the mustard seed? Is that what it's called? What was the mustard seed?
That started it all.
Yeah.
I feel like I should tell it because
I was gonna
y'all
say
are
that.
tiptoeing and I don't like it. Anyways, so I knew both of them individually. Of course, I knew Jess from college, and then I met Ronald when his father became the pastor at the church I was going to at the time. And I knew that both of them always talked about never, well, especially him. He would be like, I'm never having kids. I'm never getting married, blah, 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 blah. And
Pause. I think people overstate how much I say that.
he did. You said it enough.
You can ask anybody that know this man. They gonna say,
He said it a lot.
yeah.
A lot.
A lot. If nobody's really asking you much about it and it comes up, that's a lot.
You just sitting at a table like, I don't want kids.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't getting married either.
That's not how things go down.
Public announcement.
But it was enough for people to notice that this man really don't want no kids, or this man really don't want to get married. But Jess would say the same thing, but you could tell she really wanted it. Like, she would say it in like, I don't think I'm ever gonna get married, or I don't think I'm ever gonna have kids, but she wanted to. So she kind of had this like, if it happens, it happens.
Yes, exactly.
And so I was getting closer to Ronald, and we would have our talks, and because we would go running and do stuff like that. And he knew about Remarcus and like vice versa and things like that. So I don't even know what happened, but there was a time where I kind of was like, he was talking, I was like, this man ain't serious. If he finds somebody that he really likes, he would get married, because he's softer than what people are making him out to be and what he's trying to make himself be like. Like, he was presenting himself a certain way, but when I would spend time with him one-on-one, I'm like, you a softy. And so I was like, basically I don't know if I asked you first, Jess. I might have asked Jess first, like, hey, what you think about Ronald? Like, I feel like y'all would be cute together, because there was times we would have game nights, and I don't know why y'all don't remember that either. We would have game nights, and they would be like on it, like they knew each other and they could read each other's mind type stuff. And I'm like,
I definitely don't remember that.
y'all would be winning games, and I'd be like,
Oh, I can see that. I wasn't there, but y'all both competitive. Like, dumb
yeah, and they were
competitive.
like, it would be like games where you had to know random things, and they both knew random things. So I was like, they can't be on the same team. Y'all cheating. And so I would be mad, but also like taking note of, y'all are actually pretty compatible. Like, y'all get along in this area, whereas most people don't mesh. Like, I know I'd be arguing with everybody and their mama over a game, but they were just bounced off of each other and were really competitive and got along in those situations. Even though they didn't necessarily know each other, they just gelled well. So I asked Jess, and she was like, I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to it. And I'm like, okay. And so then I asked him, I don't know what you said. You might have said the same thing.
You didn't ask me. Your husband
brought it up.
He
I was telling everybody that they should be a couple.
he did that.
And then, yeah, so I told a couple people, and a couple people were like, no, that would not work. And then I was like, it's gonna work. Y'all just wait. I'm pretty sure everybody said no. I might have told your mom, and she was like, yes, I love her. That'll be my daughter too. And I'm like, okay. And so eventually y'all started talking. I don't know the whole like background of how y'all started talking, but I know I brought it up to both of y'all, and y'all just took it from there. And there was a point where it was like, so y'all gonna actually go on a date, or?
It was the pandemic, but also yes.
So let's talk about that first date. How'd that go?
I don't know.
I also gotta say I don't know, because again, this was during the pandemic, so like
Yeah.
I feel like we didn't really have per se a first date. I think like the first time we like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's just weird, because I guess what I would consider maybe a first date was when I went to meet your grandfather and your grandma, and like that felt a little more datey, because afterwards, we just stayed in the city and like went out to dinner. But
Yeah.
How did you guys get to the point of meeting grandparents?
Yeah, like y'all went from no dating to meet my grandparents.
Yes.
I mean, it wasn't that short of a timeline. I don't know, because we had our marriage counselors ask us the same question, and essentially things weren't, I guess, standard, as you would say.
Yeah.
We did a lot of talking over the phone. That was probably the main driver of our relationship early on.
Yeah.
I think it was some point. What year is it? I guess 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020.
I think it was in October or the beginning of the month. It was after we had our trip to Macedon with just me, her, and Moyo and her husband.
And so that's the second trip because y'all had one before where you didn't really know each other, and then the second one was like, y'all should be a thing. Come with us to Macedon.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
plotting.
It's okay.
And they brought the baby because they know she loved both of us at the time. She
Yeah.
still does, though. She's still my
So
baby, though.
yeah, I think one day she just randomly called me while she was driving somewhere, and I was like, "That's weird. Okay, I guess we'll talk." Um, so that went well, I guess. Then after a point, we essentially were speaking on the phone every day, at least once, and it became a part of a nightly routine. And I don't know, we clocked a lot of hours on the phone.
Goodness gracious, yeah.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, a pandemic. I feel like
Yeah.
many pandemic couples spent time kind of getting to know each other, communicating more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
we were
long
forced
distance
to.
almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really was like pseudo long distance. Definitely with the pandemic.
Yeah. And I don't know off the top of my head what activities we did necessarily, like before the day she was talking about when she met my grandparents, but my grandparents live in DC, so we went to the Arboretum because,
I forgot we did.
it's hard to contract COVID in a gigantic garden as long as you mind your business. So it was pretty safe, a nice time. And I was like, hey, can we just swing by if they're available? And yeah, that was a whole nother story because my grandfather is a character. We'll put it that way. Yeah, that was interesting, and we actually have a picture framed from that Arboretum visit upstairs.
Yeah, we do.
When you took her to meet your grandparents, was that like, okay, this is a serious relationship, let her meet my grandparents? Or was it just like, we're in the area, let's go meet them?
I don't know if anybody's privy to all of this, but I guess we'll do it step by step. So, like I said, we started with doing the October talks. Then come November, the night of the election,
Yeah.
which is helpful as a landmark, we essentially say, yeah, we're a couple, commitment, all that jazz. So, I'm pretty sure in that same month, I told her that I wanted to marry her.
Look at this man moving quick.
Yeah. So,
When
in
you
my
know, you
mind,
know.
I already knew that when we went to the Arboretum. I don't know what month it was, but I already had that info clocked in my head. So, yeah, by the time we went to the Arboretum, I was like, this is likely to be my future wife. Might as well let her meet two fairly important people in my life
Yeah.
that I know she would get along with, and they would welcome her pretty much. And that's what happened. And I think because of the pandemic, my grandmother, she's sick for other reasons. I haven't visited her much, and I usually work on the holidays, so I don't see my family a whole lot, or at least in the past I didn't. So after they initially met her, I visited my grandfather and grandmother for something at some point, and he was just like, "What you doing here? I don't see nobody behind you. Like, don't come to my house without her." I was like, noted. And I have a pretty decent idea the next time we saw them. I think it was in February 2021, I guess. And he was looking at her like I said, he's a character, so he's always making jokes. He's doing all this, grabbing her hand, like, I don't see no ring on her finger. And then she looks at me, gives her little that thing that women with melanin like to do. So yeah, I'm just like biting my tongue, like, yeah, ain't nothing on her finger. But I had already at that point been starting to plan. I don't know if I told Moyo yet, but yeah, I was planning on getting my engagement ring from. I'm not gonna say the name. No free
PR.
advertisement.
Right.
But yeah, I was looking online for the ring, and I asked another friend, like, what should I get? I don't know if the camera could pick it up, but she's wearing an emerald. But I had asked another friend that I told a while back I was thinking of marrying her. And she was like, yeah, just go for a traditional diamond. And I'm like, yeah, that's an idea. But when I got to talk to Moyo later, who is her best friend,
What's the quotes for?
it felt right.
It wasn't though. Get it together.
All right, let me take that back. So when I finally got around to, telling Moyo, because I was like, I need to pick somebody that can be helpful, give good input, and I know it's not going to tell anybody else. I went to Moyo, who was her best friend, and
I feel like that one fit.
Edit it out.
No, I like that one.
Get it
That
out
one
of
was a
here.
good one.
and we started working on this thing. So it's like she told me at some point she was expecting me to, propose around the holiday time.
I
But
really was expecting.
at some
that.
point she told me she wasn't feeling her 30th birthday. She wasn't like expecting or anything, wasn't looking forward to it. So I was like, I'm going to propose on her birthday. And I locked that in. So yeah, I had a couple months head start to know I need to get the ring, get everything set up before then. So yeah, that was a little bit of a journey. In that time frame, I got injured at work, which made things a little bit more complicated with getting the ring through the mail. Had to get my brother involved just for yeah, that was a problem. And interestingly, this guy, I don't know if I come across as chill or not, but he's a little more laid back than me most of the time. He actually saw the ring, didn't say anything. He just like never brought it up again. And I was like, yeah, I can count on you to keep a secret. So at that point, it was just them two that knew. And even up until the proposal, my brother was in the room too. He's like, he told me after the fact when I got down, he's like, I wasn't sure you were doing it. I was like, you thought I did all of this. Had the ring on my hand and you didn't know what I was about to do. He's like, nah. But I got it after the fact. I'm like,
After the
there's
fact.
a limit to obliviousness, but it worked out. Tight-lipped. I don't even know what the original question was, but
I don't know either.
We're just
but
walking through the journey. Our
Yeah.
journey.
I loved that.
Yeah, because he
Like,
wasn't here.
I wasn't, so I didn't know any of that, and I was like, I'm learning so much about you.
have you seen the video?
Yes, yes,
Because I show it to everybody.
He does.
yes. I have seen the video, but like that's not.
It will not see the light of the internet ever.
Yeah. That's fine. It did its duty.
Really bad, ugly crying.
Yeah, I thought the proposal was good, and I appreciated him coming to me. I don't know who he was talking to at first, but her actual best friend, who actually knows her and knew the type of ring she would prefer, made sure she got what she needed, made sure that this proposal went out. Basically, Joyous kind of proposed to you. Joyous basically did the proposal, and I don't know if one of our videos we talked about how like Joyous loves them more than her own parents, honestly. So it was just like, oh, this is so cute, and da-da-da. And Jess really was like real ugly crying, and the two mamas were in the background crying, and I was just having a good old ball, like, oh, y'all didn't even know, because everyone was so surprised.
Yeah, especially me, because I'm thinking another 6 months. Okay, that's when we'll be there. Little did I know.
And just for the audience's sake, we basically had like a little birthday party for her upstairs.
Yeah.
Her parents, my mother, my brother. She was actually having her birthday party set up for the next day. But it was on her actual birthday when I proposed.
Mm-hmm.
We had done presents, and I went first to, throw off all suspicion. I got her like 5 presents, and let that get out the way. Let everybody else do their thing, and then
The final gift.
a nice little surprise at the end.
Yeah, the crazy thing was she really didn't want to open Joyous' gift. It's like, open my baby gift and read
I'm
it.
not trying to cry while I was reading a card or a piece of paper. I'm like, y'all are trying to get me to cry, and I'm not gonna cry. And y'all still got me to cry.
It was a big one too.
It was tragic.
Crying was mandatory that day.
But contrary to popular belief, probably, I am very much an introvert. So, like, my idea of a party was just more like low key, kind of the group of people that, I guess I'm closest to, like, not a whole lot of like Instagram worthy, like, looks and feels and vibes and all that. It's just like, let's have a chill, like, night in kind of thing. So, the fact that I was still able to do that on my actual birthday, and then you pulled that stunt, both of y'all, including Joyous, pull that stunt. I'm like, I'm a wreck. And now it's on video. And nobody else will see it unless he shows it to them.
Yeah.
And I don't know if y'all talked about this before, but Joyous, her little spawn, did not like us together.
Oh,
did.
she didn't like, but she liked y'all individually.
Yes.
She loved us as separate
interesting.
individuals, but as a unit, she could not stand us.
No. It was not.
It was a
computing.
jealousy thing. It was like,
Yeah.
you can't have her. Oh, wait. No, you can't have him. Wait.
Yes.
It's like she didn't know what she didn't understand what was going on. So if they would like hug, she'd be like,
Mhm.
this is not happening.
You go
She
away.
would get out of her parents' arms, run across a whole house just to be like, no.
Yes.
I'm
Separate. I do not want y'all together. This doesn't make sense. Stop it.
Yeah. But at a certain point, she only saw us together, so she had no choice but to get past it.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, she really was adamant about, like, no, this is not a thing. Stop
Mhm.
touching him. Stop touching her. What are you doing?
I actually forgot about that.
Yes.
But yeah.
Mhm.
So one thing that we've been asking everybody is first impressions on friends. So you can start with me because it'll be shorter probably than Moyo's.
Probably both be short.
I mean, y'all also had quite a bit of difficulty getting out of me, like how I met her. I feel like it was more memorable meeting you.
Was it?
I believe you and John were in an apartment at a point. Is that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah.
Did you
And
come to
I
that?
went there
Oh,
before I
Oh.
met her. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah,
It's
that makes
possible.
sense. Yeah.
I
I
Yeah,
think
that
we
makes
went.
sense.
I went over there at least twice. You know, we hung out and played a few games one of the times.
yes, I do have a memory of that.
So yeah, and yeah, I interacted with you a little bit. Got to know you a little bit. I feel like I said a little bit a lot.
It's okay.
Then he
But,
left.
Yeah, and then and then I
You
left.
left.
You
Yeah,
left.
I was like,
I
you
saw
left out of my
more
house.
times before that though.
Yeah, we definitely like interacted
Yeah.
multiple times. But then I think later on, like as like y'all relationship grew, and then I'm just watching kind of from a distance. But then as I started to come back, like on holidays and stuff, and then when we moved back, like I kind of got to lurk on you. So like I went through all of your video games and then like your closet stuff over there. So I got to see all of your artwork and stuff. And I was like, this man is like me. And I was like, that's weird. Like we're kind of similar. And I was like, that's awkward. And then we kind of just, I feel like you might have recognized that as well. And then it was just kind of like a mutual like, yep.
You have similar tastes.
Well, I told her at some point when we were trying to figure things out, like beginnings and all that first meet type stuff. I was like, for a couple gatherings, or at least our engagement, like I purposely sat with you because I was like, I get along with you. We can talk. You're fun to be around.
Shucks. Man.
I've never heard that before about Shaun.
Wow.
I
But it makes sense.
It does make
Coming
a lot
from
of
this
sense.
one.
I feel
Cut
like
from the same cloth.
yeah. The memorable time that I can like remember that we've been together when it was just us when we went to pick up the food from that one restaurant and I was like, let's go together. You're like, just me and you, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna make this awkward.
Yeah, it's probably the
Um,
only time we've ever been alone.
Yeah, but it wasn't like weird. Not to me. It wasn't weird to me. I think in the
It was
beginning it
super
was.
weird.
Oh well.
I'm just kidding.
I was like,
It wasn't weird at all.
like, yeah. I felt like I was like, oh shoot, you still are someone that I would be friends with that we didn't make happen.
Y'all still have time.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
got
I'm
back.
yeah.
That's true. We did just get back, so
yeah, well, be at the new crib.
that's true. Yeah, I gotta come over.
We
So-
trying to be neighbors. For real, for real.
They opened up, anyways. Don't get me started. So, first impressions from Moyo.
He gonna tell lies.
I can tell lies.
I know you can.
I'm gonna tell the truth,
All right, let's go.
especially since it's a story about church. But
Ooh.
like she said, we had, what's the word, migrated to a new church, and yeah, I was not necessarily trying to get necessarily involved in a whole lot of stuff because at our previous church I was doing a bunch of stuff actually, and I was like, I'll take more of a backseat here, or at least attempt to. But I guess it was one of the Bible study nights. Moyo got a hold of me and one of my brothers and was like, if y'all not doing anything, help me with this children's activity essentially. So from there, it kind of snowballed into, I think, another Bible study with the young adults.
Choir.
Well, a second children's activity.
Oh yeah.
So we're doing stuff with kids in the daytime, at night. The choir came from, I think, the choir director. He originally got me doing sound because he knew I did sound in my previous church. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But I was doing the soundboard, I was doing video recording. Then I already knew the choir director. So then she was like, yeah, why don't you come do the choir too? And I'm like, I guess. So then I'm doing like 4 or 5 activities when I was trying to stay at 0, which wasn't the worst thing in the world. But I think at some point, like me, her, and my brother were doing all these church functions, and she just came over one day and we hung out, and from there we spent a lot of time together and just made a friendship. I guess the question was, what was my initial impression of her though? So when she first asked me to do this activity, I had a very different picture of her because she was pretty prim and quiet from what I'd seen.
Prim, I've never been called that.
That was all I've seen of you at that point, because you were Sunday school, knees up, hands like this, with your Bible in your lap.
I
just
can
listening
see it.
attentively and just like,
I was not shaking my head yes to nothing that man was saying. Don't play me like that.
look, I'm just
It's just his
a
impression.
little bit of embellishment for the storytelling purpose.
Okay, because we know good and well that man was
But,
talking.
Yeah, so that's what I thought of you. And then I was like, okay, I thought she was down not necessarily negative, but she was on a certain level, I guess an energy level. I don't really like the word energy, but it's appropriate here. But she was on this energy level, then I got to know her at this level, and then later I'm just like, she's a wild one.
What?
Which was kind of interesting one day. I guess fast forward a little bit when I met Remarcus, and he was like trying to get a feel for her friends and everything, and we had a couple one-on-one talks. While everybody making noise, we talk quietly. He just like, yeah, just trying to see how everybody like views my wife and what they think of her and their
Yeah,
interactions.
stuff like that.
Yeah, that's why we get along.
Oh, he don't be asking me no questions, so we having to force him to talk.
I ain't get them questions either, but we know
But-
why.
Essentially, though, he was like, I know my wife to be like a certain way, like kind of how I saw you at first with the low energy, and I'm like, nah, buddy, you marrying somebody up here, and if you ain't seen it yet, I guess you're gonna see it eventually. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I don't know if he didn't see it yet, but it was. I do have different levels for different environments, and unless you're in a certain space, you're not gonna see me at certain
Right.
in
Y'all
certain
were in
aspects.
Hawaii, so it makes sense. Like you weren't around your community, your friends, like the people that you're most comfortable with. So the high energy interactions like typically only come out when you are with your friends and stuff.
Yeah. And it kind of it's kind of coming off as like, I don't know, not genuine maybe. Like it's coming off like I have different.
No, I think it's coming off as like you have your different like, and I think we've explained it in other episodes where it's like you have your different levels where it's just like I'm not going to be completely like open and outgoing and like in your face. Like that's just not my personality. Like I need to get to know you before I can like really feel comfortable being fully there. And then also you don't do small talk.
Yeah.
And I think when I was talking to Marcus, he may have even gotten that same, I guess, understanding from what I was trying to tell him, is that, oh, is she holding something back or not being genuine? But like they were saying, it's just different aspects of the same person that aren't in conflict. It's just you haven't seen her in every environment yet.
Yeah.
And I could sense from him, he I wouldn't call it jealousy or anything, just he was missing something with you that other people that had more access to you on a regular basis had, and he was trying to get closer to it. And that's what I could tell
I
from
can
him.
see that. Yeah.
I was like, y'all about to be married, like you're gonna get it. I guess I have a head start on you because like essentially he's talking to this dude he don't really know, who I don't know, I come across different ways to different people because I can be, you know, those low energy and high energy
I'm about to
levels.
sing Joy's favorite song. The little, I can be brown, I can be blue, I can be violet sky. Yeah, I heard that before.
I have not.
Yeah, that's Joy's favorite song now.
Yeah. I just like, I definitely spend more time with your wife than you, so I could see why you have an issue. All these dudes around your wife, but or soon to be wife, and he figured out what was what.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of the same because like people will ask Jess things about you, and they're like, "You should ask Moya," and I'm like, "No, you should ask Jess and let her figure it out." Like y'all have to. We were close, and we had I had a partner and people didn't see that. So a lot of times they'd be like, no, they're together. Or people thought I was with your other brother at one point. I'm like, first of all, I would never date somebody younger than me. Even if you 2 seconds younger than me, I'm be like, no, thank you. But on top of
well, sorry to cut you off, but on a regular, you like, if I wasn't older than you, you wouldn't even interact with me and my brothers.
It's probably true. I can't even deny that because I have 3 younger brothers. And a lot of times when I see younger people, I just imagine them as like them. So I'm close to your younger brothers too, but it's like, again, it's like a brother. Like that's one of my little brothers. And then with you, you didn't feel like an older brother. You felt like, I don't want to say a twin, peer. like somebody that was on the same level as me. Yeah, so it was just like we were family. Like, and people thought that was weird that I just took these people and I was like, yes, these are my family now.
I'm like, who are these people? Like, she been at this church for how many years? She ain't never had no family like these people. Like, where they come from? Why is she close to them? But whatever.
And I think it's similar to like how quickly you guys became a thing. Like, it was just. These are good people. Yeah. Let's just make it a thing. Now we're a thing. So our relationship, like I couldn't tell you exactly when I first met them. And I can't tell you exactly when we went from 0 to 100. And now their family is my family and my family's there. Like that's just, it just happened. Yeah. And that's why it's hard. Like in the beginning, y'all were like, I don't know. And it seems off and it seems weird, but it just is what it is. Like it just happened. Yeah. And it's hard to explain how it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely was friends with your mom before I was like even close to you. But I also feel like I knew your brothers more than I knew you, because I would see them more than I saw you. I think that was the other part of like why I'm like, I don't really know or remember exactly when I met you, because I feel like every time I was in the area or I was around, like you were always working. And so like when I hear his stories about like interacting with you guys, I'm like, when was this man off? Because every time I was around, this man was working.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's really interesting to always like hear these stories and hear like one that you did have a life outside of work, but also just like your interactions with people like Shaun and like with Moyo, like you have your own relationships and organic development with them. And I think for me, it's been the same with, you know, your brother and your mom and like even your dad, like just on my own, having my own encounters with them outside of you before we even were
Yeah.
thought of a thing. Yeah.
And that's why everybody had an opinion. When Marcus brought up us being together in my family, and I'm just like, well, y'all said it, everything. I ain't got nothing to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, we still got here.
Yeah.
I would say slowly but surely, but
It wasn't that slow.
It wasn't.
It was really quick.
quickly
I
but
mean,
surely.
I guess we can pull the curtain back a little bit more. I told Moyo about it. I was like, after the whole surprise, prematurely telling me about, trying to develop something with Jess, I was telling Moyo, I wasn't sure I wanted to do that because of other relationships, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I just want to do me for a little bit.
I
So
will
she was
say,
understanding of it.
yeah, and I would say that was part of, because I didn't like say all of that in the beginning, but I had witnessed him in other relationships where other people didn't necessarily know, and I was asking questions. And I was like, "You do what? The guy who don't want to get married and don't want to he do what?" So that's how I kind of was getting the picture of, actually, I think he would want to be with somebody in the long run. And same thing with Jess, like, of course Jess wanted somebody to be with. Like, she just didn't want to put herself out there and be hurt.
Mhm.
And I knew
That
that
too.
he wouldn't be the type of person to do that.
Mhm.
At least from what I knew of him. And I
Yeah.
had known him for a couple years at that point.
Yeah.
I can do bad all by myself.
Personally, at some point, I just convinced myself that I didn't necessarily have a match that I was going to find. And it's not like I was looking hard or nothing. I wasn't like doing dating apps or like serial dating or anything or looking for anybody. I'm just like, I've scanned, the gamut of people I've interacted with, women, take my little mental notes and just like, no one out here really fits what I feel like could come close to being what I want for a spouse, I guess. So I'm like, if it doesn't exist, then how am I gonna get married if I'm not finding
Yeah.
the spouse that fits?
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it, just not knowing that this one was out there and available.
That's cute.
I know they still in that honeymoon
I know.
phase.
Like, it's still brand new. Still wet
Uh-huh.
behind the ears.
Uh-huh.
Pulling the Jess.
I'm older than all of you.
Barely.
Barely. You young. You barely our age.
I'm grown. Our age now. Now you was older than us. Now it's our age.
How old are you?
First of all, they my age.
How old is
and you are a little bit older.
How old are you?
We are all born in 1990s.
How
Let's
old
leave
are
it
you?
at that.
I mean,
I
well,
made it.
I was like,
1990s? I'm in
yeah,
there.
you in there. You in there.
I'm all the way in there.
I almost missed the 90s.
Okay, that's your business.
John is not in the 90s. But I think we want to say thank you for doing.
Oh, where they're going to be.
Oh, true. My bad. You can ask it.
So the last question that we wanted to ask is, where do you guys see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Earth.
Where do you see your family, yourselves as a couple? Like, how do you see yourselves progressing in the next 5 to 10 years?
Still on Earth, but I think if there are going to be any, you know,
Babies.
yeah, that word, it's definitely going to be before 5 years, because
Yeah.
can't be having no little rugrats. When
I
I'm
didn't
40.
say anything. I didn't say anything.
You get all of that.
First of all, it's a podcast, so some people may not be able to see me.
I can see you.
It's okay. Keep it going.
Everyone that's listening to Just the Voices, she's doing the most.
Oh, they know.
It's just a happy dance. Waiting for my baby.
Your baby.
Mhm.
You know what? I recently, I don't know if I should tell you this.
Had a dream you were having a baby?
I don't have dreams like that.
Oh, okay.
I had changed people's names on my phone, and I named her our surrogate because she had our baby for us.
No. Change it back. We need another one. We need another one.
Change it back.
It's gonna stay like that for a while.
We need another one.
Nope, that's what it's gonna be. So
We literally have a group chat with them called Joyous Parents.
all four
It's
of us.
hilarious.
The group needed a name. That's the first thing I thought
It
of.
really could, yeah.
Nice.
And we have a wedding picture to prove it.
Mhm.
Literally. Like, this wasn't a wedding. This was Joyous Party.
That's what my grandfather said at the wedding, because Joyce just wanted to be involved in everything. My grandfather was like, "Y'all did it that fast?" I'm like,
That's your baby.
but other than that, that's like a hypothetical thing. I think we definitely would have made some serious moves on the home buying process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but just I don't know. I'm not a far out planner, I guess.
Preach.
That's not really what I do.
Mm.
Like, I've talked about it with her. Like, our jobs kind of speak to our mentality. In my field, there is no you get off the clock and you got to worry about what you're going to do the next day. Like, my job is only it only matters what I'm doing during my shift. And for her job, there's like long-term planning and stuff. And that's kind of how our personalities work too. So she looks ahead and gets anxious and stuff. And I'm just like,
Yes.
I'm just going to take care of what's in front of me.
Could not live my life like that. But yeah, I think we're on the same page though, or in agreement about in general what we want to do and where we want to go. Definitely like done the, I guess, research and preparatory work as far as like starting to expand our family, because we are a family, even if it's just us two and our dog that you may or may not hear in the background. Right. But yeah, like we've done what we wanted to do so far as like the research on that. So it's still on the table. It's not completely off, but I think one of the reconciliations we did have before we got married was like the discussion of, would we be okay without? Would we be okay with? And I think we're both on the same page as far as we'd be fine if we never had kids. We'd be fine if we do. We'll make it
Don't
work.
look at me.
But definitely our immediate, I guess, main focus goal right now is definitely like to buy another house. Buy our like home, hopefully forever home, because I don't like moving. I
Hopefully closer to me.
Hopefully
I mean-
closer to me.
I mean, either one works for me.
Do
Or
you
me.
mean closer at all, or as far as everybody we could be close to? You want to be the nearest to us?
I think she just means not here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not an hour away. Let's do like 30, you know?
I mean, that's kind of the plan. Like Central
Yeah.
Maryland, it gives
Yeah.
us the most
Yeah.
career options
yeah.
and options to get to other people we know.
Yeah. And that's definitely our plan, is like moving somewhere that we could be accessible to both of our parents, as well as, you know, our friends, our community. Because I do think that can sometimes be a barrier. It's like just the travel distance, the traffic, like it's a lot. So yeah, I think our next steps is definitely just focusing on saving to move, find a new house, all of that. I'd say I'm probably the most picky about, where we're going to be and what kind of house we'll live in and what's going to be in the house.
4 walls, no roaches, and I'm good.
No. I need more. But yeah, I think that's what's on the horizon for us. And the fact that we're on the same page, that's all that matters.
That's a win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Y'all ready to eat?
Close out.
Yeah. You want to do it? I did the last one.
I thought I did the last
Say
one.
thank you.
Can I do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, but someone should say thank you to you.
I thank myself for being such a gracious guest.
Thank you for bringing yourself
For
to the Black
being-
Table Talk.
Yes. So magnanimous and generous with my
Ooh.
time. And you guys are welcome to edit all of this out, but I just feel so thankful that you guys had the opportunity to experience me in my
Leave it in. The
The
dog looking at you
fullness.
crazy.
the fullness
Like,
of
who
my
is she talking?
personality.
What a blessing.
It is a blessing.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you,
and thank
husband.
you everyone for watching. We hope
Yes.
that you will like, subscribe, follow us on everything,
Comment.
share, all the good stuff, all the good stuff.
On MySpace especially.
See you
We
later.
love you. We love you. Bye.